Well, it looks like the ball does keep rolling for Guild Wars and improving gameplay features and just core infrastructure and stuff. So with episode 2, we obviously had a lot of movement-oriented gameplay mechanisms implemented and improved. Then very shortly later, with the release of Super Adventure Books at April Fools this year, they did the Big Chair update. And, well, here's another one. Maybe not as exciting as the chairs stuff, but it is cool to me whenever they do sweeping changes that affect the UI, and specifically the hero panel. You remember a couple of patches back, they added a few things. They removed lag from the hero panel. They allowed it to remember what tab you were on last time, so you could instantly get in and out of your build, for example. Well, they've done something even further with that window now, and it's to do with gathering tools. So, let's just jump into this. Now, the title of this video is called The Gathering Storm, and that's because the devs have released a dev post also called The Gathering Storm, which describes all of these changes that have gone in. Now, very astute members of you out there in the community might be scratching your head right now, because you could remember that The Gathering Storm... This is not the first blog post we've had called this. This is not the first time I've done a video called The Gathering Storm. Way back during the Season 1 days, this was the name of an actual release. The Gathering Storm was a release title the same as Daybreak was the start of Season 4, or A Crack in the Ice was an episode in Season 3, and so on. So, what is going on here? Why would the devs decide to name it this when they've already taken it? Is it just an accident, like someone years ago thought of The Gathering Storm, someone recently thought of The Gathering Storm and forgot? Or, is there a hint we should dig for here? Something about Season 1, guys? I don't know. Anyway, there's just a side note. And no, we're not talking about Season 1 here today. We're talking about something completely different and completely unrelated. So let's just read their post and see what they have to say. Start off this lovely image here of someone using one of the gathering tools. They say this: today we are making some quality of life changes to the unlimited gathering tools that you pick up from the gem store, and we're expanding the variety of limited use tools that have bonus effects available in the regular game. So this is not just gem store related. They say read on to find out how to get the most out of every swing. This is an update that addresses some community concerns that have been long persistent, and that's that if you went to the gem store and you bought some of these expensive unlimited gathering items, some of them had extra perks, like they'd give you Watchwork sprockets, for example, or the various types of living world currencies as you gathered, and it was kind of like just an extra bonus for people who went to the gem store. Not particularly pay to win, but a little bit pay to win, and most importantly, just a little outside of ArenaNet's philosophies with how the gem store should work. This is fixing that up. It's funny because people have complained about this on several occasions. There's never been an official developer response acknowledging that they didn't like it either, and then yet suddenly they just come out with this update and it seems like they didn't, and they've improved it. So they say this: through the wardrobe. That's right, we're adding gathering tools skins to the wardrobe. You can change their appearance with transmutation charges the same way you do your armor, your weapons, and your backpacks. Open the wardrobe in your hero panel, click on an equip tool, and select the skin that you've unlocked. The preview will display each tool's use on effect. They also say you can use gathering tools skins across your entire account, and they can be applied to limited use tools as well as unlimited. So, yeah, you can see the footage in the background. The wardrobe here, I think these are the last icons that you weren't skinnable before, but now they are. And, yeah, you can click through, you can get new skins on the gathering stuff. It's not that important, I don't think, but what they're also saying is you can do that thing with legendaries where you have the real unlimited use gathering tool on one character, but the skin on like a crappy tool over on a different one. There's just a little bit of consistency there. One thing I was pretty upset to see, I don't know whether people have really been talking about this online, but the first thing I went to check was the vault. So the vault is the representation of all skins in game that you find at your bank. Remember, you got 3 tabs at the bank: regular bank, collectibles, and then the vault. Well, they didn't add the gathering tools there, so maybe they'll have to improve that. Another nice little thing you'll notice from the UI is when you do click to skin one of these, it throws a mock mini tree or shrub or whatever, or rock for you to mine, and you get to see the animation there. So that's always kind of nice. They also miss a trick though. Some of these gathering tools do special things with your character. Like, if you think of someone mining, usually they just swing the pick over their head and they smack down and crack into the rock. Well, some of these tools instead have you lift off of your feet and like Super Saiyan laser beam out of them, and it would be nice to see that part of the animation in the wardrobe, but you don't. You just see the tool itself. At least I think that's the way it works. So there you go. That's basically what they've done there. Then the more interesting update, there's a new type of item in the game called Glyphs. So you can kind of tell that the devs are running out of terms to use to describe various things. Glyphs obviously already are in the game. They are an elementalist category of skills, but let's ignore that. I think we've actually seen glyphs in some other minor areas as well, but most people are going to think of the Ellie skills. So here's what they say. Previously, an eclectic selection of tools had a chance to return a small amount of extra materials while you were gathering with them. The Unbound magic gathering tools, both vendor purchased and unlimited. Yeah, that's true. It wasn't just gem store related. You could obviously go to the hearts on the new maps, buy the tools, and you get those. They had frostbitten tools rewarded during Winter's Day. I think they gave snowflakes, didn't they? The Lucky Dog harvesting tool and the Watchwork mining pick. We intended this to be a nice little bonus, but instead it felt incomplete and arbitrary. We wanted to organize the system better to make it clear where bonus effects come from and how players can get them, both through the gem store and in the game. Now you can customize your gathering tools with Glyphs, a new type of upgrade component. If you want your Lucky Dog harvesting tool to fetch scraps of leather instead of trophies, swap its glyph of the scavenger for a glyph of the leather worker. So another way to describe this, guys, from me would be weapons have sigils, armor has runes, gathering tools have glyphs. Very simple, and there's different varieties of glyphs determine different perks you get while gathering. So they also say this, most tools in the game now have an upgrade slot, and you can swap glyphs in and out freely without using an upgrade extractor. So that's nice too. They give you that little benefit. They're not going to force you to spend lots of money on the gem store to get those off or salvage them off, obviously, because salvage isn't really applicable here. They say glyphs applied to limited use tools will go back onto your inventory after you've consumed the final gathering charge. So, yeah, if you have a pickaxe that only has 50 uses, you put a badass glyph in it, the glyph won't be destroyed with the pick on the 50th use. It will just get dumped back for you. They also say this, and this is a nice little thing to get you to try and use the gem store. For a limited time, you can visit it and you can pick up your first glyph, a black lion glyph container. And from that, you can choose either the glyph of the tailor, which gives you a 33% chance to receive bonus cloth scraps, a glyph of the leather worker, a 33% chance to receive leather scraps, industry, which means you gather 50% faster. Flight, which means you increase your movement speed for 5 seconds after gathering completes. That movement speed increase, by the way, I think is 100%. So that's like that glyph of flight. You guys will remember, actually, one of the boosters in the game already is gain swiftness or something after you've gathered. So if you go glyph of flight and you use that booster, you kind of lose that bit of value on the booster, I guess. But you'll notice here they've got quite a wide variety of different things going on. I believe these are trading postable as well. Most people obviously going for leather or cloth. I think leather being the main one. I think with this we'll see the economies balance out just a little bit more. Because leather was the slightly pricier thing, obviously, for a while now. But I also see a lot of opportunity now for the devs to add more glyphs. Glyphs hidden in black lion chests. Glyphs available for direct purchase. Glyphs available as raid or fractal rewards, maybe. There's all kinds of little things they can do there. Gathering, to me, is not a very big part of Guild Wars 2. I've done it on rare occasions where the economy has meant you can get crazy loot out of it. But generally, I don't care for it very much. But I know a lot of people just love, like, running around on their mounts, pressing F, and then running around on the mounts and pressing F. And for those people, this will probably be quite a nice update here. They also say each of the glyphs is also available just straight up as a rare drop from black lion chests. Glyphs found in the chests are account bound and can be bought or sold through the trading post. So there you go. It's the TP related ones that you'll be able to trade. Existing unlimited gathering tools with bonus effects, such as the Watchwork pick and all those we talked about before, they now contain an account-bound glyph when you purchase them from the gem store. So these are still, like, technically locked behind those gem store purchases, so it doesn't really resolve it too well. But yeah, so I'm someone who owns the Watchwork mining pick, you can see there, and so that means I can just nab that out and put that into any tool I like anywhere and skin any animation. I also wonder, the gathering 50% faster animate, does that improve the animations too, so you get super quick animations? That'd be kind of interesting to see how that mixes with the different skins. There you have it. They also say, last of all, if you own these tools, visit a Black Lion exchange specialist in a major city or lounge to trade them for an updated version at no cost. Now, here's something that's kind of funny. I have some of these unlimited tools. that when they very first released, they were soul-bound, and then the devs changed them to become account-bound later. But when they made them account-bound later, they offered the opportunity to turn a soul-bound one into account-bound one. And now there's another rung after that to turn the account-bound ones into the new Glyph version ones. And so, quite interestingly, I logged onto my main to see those super old tools, which I never made account-bound in the end. And they haven't, like, applied to the update to those, so I'd have to go through all rungs of the ladder. I guess it doesn't really matter very much. But weird bit of trivia for you. I'm going to take the time to give it. And then they have a little section right here at the end where they say bonus effects and where to find them. Limited use tools with inherent bonuses are the only tools exempt from glyph swapping, and their effects cannot be removed or changed. Gathering merchants have set up shop in every major city and every lounge to offer limited use tools with bonus effects for exchange for karma. So another karma sync in there. I always like seeing karma syncs. They're currently stocking tools with bonus effects equivalent to the glyph of the tailor, the glyph of the leather worker, the glyph of industry, and blah blah blah. They plan to add more with future unlimited gathering tools. New bonus effects will be exclusive to the unlimited tool that they're introduced with for a period, and then after that they will add them to the blackline chest glyphs and limited use tools from gathering merchants. We hope you enjoy your logging, your mining, your harvesting. So that last little bit there, they're basically saying, yeah, we will keep them time exclusive to drive sales early, but then they'll open it up for everyone. And I think that's a fair balance of the company getting a bit of money, but also everyone managing to get their options as a consumer in due course. So there you go. That's the Gathering Storm. That was one part of the update. That's not all I have to say here, guys, though. So if you've got any comments or thoughts on that, drop them down below, because we're about to shift gears to talk about some of the other things that went in. Open up here, first of all, with this big world polish section. Once again, if you pause the video, you can really browse it. It's mostly Path of Fire, Season 4 related stuff. I've never actually seen a world polish section where there's nothing in it that interests me very much at all, but this is it. If you think there is something amazingly interesting and you want to set me right, tell me down below. But yeah, just general bug fixes. Obviously, I got my Chukun Chumpor ages ago, so those improvements to that haven't been relevant to me. Moving on, they say general. They fixed a bug in the crab toss activity that allowed players to prevent point gains by throwing the crab out of bounds. So, I didn't know about this bug. Why? Because I haven't played crab toss for ages now. I haven't been incented to do my daily activity because it doesn't come up very much, and usually I get the equivalent from while I'm PvPing instead. But, yeah, supposedly there was a bug. This would be a horrible bug, by the way. If you could just throw out of bounds every time and then reclaim it the second you think you're going to lose it, that would be nasty. I actually really enjoy crab toss. It rewards awareness to a pretty high extent. But yeah, so there you go, little change there, and the activities have had so little attention for so long. I wonder if they're just a nuisance to the devs now. It's like, oh, this one broke, fine, we'll go back, fix it, and they've got no intention to add anymore. But there you have it. Mesmer, this is the only balance related change that came in. It's Shatter Storm. So if you remember, this is the new Mesmer trait that means their mind rack, their F1, becomes ammunition based. And they say here that they fixed a bug with the trait that allowed repeated use of Mind Rack while in conjunction with Continuum Split. So I don't actually, because I never played Chrono, I know Chrono is extremely strong in PvP at the moment. I don't know whether it was enabled through this Mind Rack interaction, but I guess the idea would be you could spend all your ammo in Continuum Split and then go back and you get your ammo back, and they considered that a bug, did they? That sounds normal and anticipated to me, so maybe it was something even further, but they have fixed that. Will that actually reduce the efficacy of Chronos? I doubt it, not for PvP, not on its own. I don't even know if they were running this trait, frankly. There you have it. Next we have raids. So this is just more item changes. It's not really about raids at all. So when you raid, you get Ascended Gear. The Ascended Gear comes in a couple of different categories, which determine the stats you can get from it. So if you get an Assaulter's drop, that means you're going to get like glassy offensive stat sets from it. If you get a Malicious drop, it's going to be condition focused and so on. So they've updated the loot tables for some of the new stat combinations that came in with the Living World. So check this out. Assaulters and Malicious, which is the aggressive glassy stuff, they've been updated to now include Bringer's stats. Bringer's stats being one of the new sets. It's three attributes: Major Expertise, Minor Precision, Minor Vitality. I'm not really sure where you'd be excited to use that. Expertise without any Condi damage on it. It's very strange. It's like you wouldn't run a full set of Bringers. You'd just like supplement an existing one maybe? I don't know. Anyway, so you got that. And then also Defenders and Healers have been updated to include the Givers stat combination. Givers also being a very weird set. which is Toughness Major, Healing Minor, and Concentration Minor. And again, I don't think these are new here. It's just that they're now available through raids. And so there you have it. This next section is probably the most exciting one to me. Number one, reduce the audio volume of some miniatures. And I'm guessing that's stuff like Mini Super Assassin, because Super Adventure Box is live right now, and that mini was always very, very, very loud. I haven't gone through and verified. I don't think Wiki's gone through and verified which ones have actually been reduced in volume either. I hope it's not my Super Monkey, though. I like his little bleeping and blooping as he walks around. There you got that. They say they fixed a bug that allowed the bench of the final judge to be used in combat. That sounds ridiculous. That's the equivalent of being able to mount in combat, I think, guys. This is pretty crazy. And then also we have the most exciting one. Sound effects have been added to the Gizmos awarded to winners of PvP automated tournaments. So this is fascinating on multiple levels to me. Number one, a lot of you guys aren't even going to know what I'm talking about, Gizmos. Gizmos are like the saddest item in the game to me, in that they are so interesting and cool and should have a lot of prestige by them, but most people don't even know they exist. They are a legendary item. They are a legendary item, like a legendary weapon, or a legendary backpack, or legendary armor. It's a category of legendary that most of you don't have, and have probably never heard of. It's a legendary gizmo. So it's an item that when you double click, it gives you a special effect that like floats near you. Not quite an aura, but it will appear like above you. The only way to get this type of legendary, the only way, is to win the monthly tournament in PvP. And because some teams win that tournament on repeat, it means very few players in all of Guild Wars 2 own these gizmos. And, well, the devs have given them audio now as well. I don't know what that audio is, but extra information and things on that's always good. And I like how on the patch notes here as well, they have to actually specify. They can't just say, oh, added sound effects to the gizmos, because they know that their community doesn't know about the gizmos, so they have to add later on the patch notes here, yeah, those things awarded to the winners of the PvP tournaments, remember those? I'm kind of interested in those, and hopefully I'll get to see on someone's stream or something at some point how they sound. Nice to see quality of life being thrown on there. More reminders to the community at large. Hey, gizmos exist, so why don't you try and go for them? Speaking of that, let's go into the last couple of updates. One of them, PvP related in its entirety. The trebuchets in the PvP lobby have been switched to the same control format as the trebs in the Battle of Kylo. So yeah, if you've been watching my videos over the past month, you'll remember they updated the Kylo treb to zoom your camera out and work differently. There was a post very quickly on the forums after that saying, hey, are you guys going to update the ones in Heart of the Mists? And there it is. They've done that after confirming they were going to in the forums. World vs. World had some new item changes as well, and this is the first time in a long time that another type of item has been added back to the game, and that being enrichments. So before I get into the actual patch note itself, you should remember enrichments were added to Laurel vendors way back, and they are upgrades for ascended amulets. So there's like that gilded enrichment that means you get 20% more gold from everything you kill. There was the magical enrichment that did it for magic find. There was one for experience. There was one for karma, if you remember. Well, those are the only enrichments that have ever really existed. Once upon a time, when A Crack in the Ice came out last year, there was the Coder's Warmth enrichment, which had a slight aura effect and was at the end of that long, collection that you had to do in the Crack of the Ice update with Bitterfrost Frontier. That is the only extra enrichment that had ever been added to the game until now. So 2 new enrichments were added, and they are specially for the World vs. World players. So you get here the World vs. World experience enrichment. These both come from the Laurel vendors over there. That's 10% bonus to the world experience you get for the World vs. World ranks and stuff. And then there's the reward track version as well, which buffs your reward tracks by 5%. So you just buy those, slot them in your amulets, increase rewards for World vs. World. So the other story here is you'll notice that they've done this for World vs. World, but not PvP. So there's 2 potential lines of reasoning for this. I think they're both reasonably valid. Number one, and this is what most of the community's been saying, and that's that you get such insane gold and loot from PvP anyway, that they don't necessarily need it, while World vs. World players get less loot in their estimation, but also you're kind of taxed on your playtime in World vs. World because you spend money for siege and things. So they think that, this is kind of balancing it out a little bit. I don't think it's actually that at all. I think that the devs probably would rather parity in terms of the bonuses for both modes. But here's the thing. PvP doesn't use gear in the traditional way. None of it's hooked in. None of it works that way. You instead have the build panel, and you have 1 amulet. But the PvP amulets aren't like upgradable amulets. So purely in the pursuit of parity, the devs would have to do quite a lot of UI stuff to allow you to start upgrading your gear. And then that takes away the simplicity they aimed for in the original PvP update that put that kind of build panel into the game. So that would be a reversion, if anything, and purely in the pursuit of maybe even giving PvP players even more rewards when they already get tons. I don't think it would have been worth the time. So it's not that I hate on PvP, it's just, come on, let's be realistic. It wasn't a necessary change. So I think it's that, but there you go. They never actually had any official quote from that. There are a ton of Black Lion changes. As you guys know, I don't often go on about those. You can pause the video if you'd like to look at them. There's a new Black Lion chest. Stuff's rotated on the weapons. There's new minis related to the new mounts. There's actually a ton of things in there, so you guys can have a look if you'd like. And then finally, coming down to the bottom, a few bug fixes you can see here, but I thought I'd lastly point out, quite interestingly, for the Mac users, they changed the underlying file I/O mechanisms to improve asset load times on certain hardware. So if you play this game on Mac and on a specific type of hardware, you might get faster loading screens, I think is what they're trying to say there. So there you go, guys. That's the patch. The Gathering Storm, the hint at Living World Season 1 returning, probably not, and all of the new little things that they've just done with the hero panel. Hope you guys enjoyed. I love updates like this. Again, not because it's going to affect my gameplay or too much, but it feels like it's more fresh new things that go into the hero panel and that they still have, you know, larger reworks and changes going on, and that's always nice to see. So there you have it, guys. I'll have more videos coming out for you very soon, in addition to the LP, which, by the way, just a quick reminder, is still going in full force. If you still haven't considered sitting down and watching it, we've got a good bulk of videos out now. People are still really enjoying it. It's been an absolute blast. And I promise, if you give it a shot, you will learn a lot of things you probably didn't know about the core story, and it will invigorate you in all kinds of different ways. So, yeah, hope you guys check that out. I'll be back very soon. Thanks very much for watching the video. And here, look, I'll put a link on your face right now. You can see it. Click the link. I'll see you next time.